Hi guys, sad day I come. Kha'zix has some nerfs on the PB right now, and they look like they look much worse, but like what they are. But people have asked me what I think about it, so I'm gonna show you what I think about it and why. What's my opinion on it? But first, I think Kha'zix deserves a nerf, cause he's super overplayed. He doesn't get punished at the same way before. Before, if he didn't go in isolation, you were dead. Now you can almost one-shot an AD carry if he's fed without isolation, and that's not how you should be supposed to play Kha'zix. And that's what they're trying to change a little bit. So the first thing they did was they lowered the base damage of the Q, just cause they lowered this cause the isolation damage is going up, so they have to lower this, or it's just stupid. And this is also so you don't do as much damage to without isolation. This is a nerf to that. And bonus AD ratio lowered to 120% from 140%. This is also a nerf to the Q without isolation, because I agree it's stupid that you can do like 400 damage with a Q. That's like, you're supposed to be in isolation. Like, I'm happy with this nerf, because it's gonna nerf the bad Kha'zix players, not the good players. Because every time I jump in, I have isolation, because that's how you're supposed to play Kha'zix. That's how I've been playing Kha'zix for all these years. So the isolation damage went up and this went down. So if you can actually calculate the new AD ratio when you're isolated, and I did that, because it looks pretty like scary when you see this, because it looks like a big drop. But in reality, you can see here I have some math things. The old scaling was 2.1, also like 210% of your AD became damage, and that was an extremely good ratio. But now they lowered that to 198, so it's like a 0.1% nerf. But that's not the only thing, because with the 65% extra damage, the 15 extra damage, the base damage will actually also go up, which means it will deal 272 damage instead of 255 damage when it's isolated. I'm talking about when it's isolated. Without isolation, it's just a straight nerf. Like, it's a 20% nerf here and a 5 damage nerf here. Pretty big nerf for that, but not a nerf to this too. But it's I get it. They need to nerf him. It's boring to be a Kha'zix main right now. So here's a graph on how the damage is per AD. Here's the AD. Here's the damage you will do. And you can see this is the graph. Oh, what? This is the graph where you have like the new the damage graph you're gonna have when this comes out on live server, and you can see it's actually higher than the old thing, because you have more base damage, because it's actually 15% more, because this is multiplied by 50% more than before, which means that actually so when you play Kha'zix with less AD focus item, he's gonna be a lot stronger, because yeah. And just think of your now when you hit level 9 and you get 5 point in Q, you're probably only gonna have to have around 100 AD, and then it's like a pretty bit different here. You get, like, it's a nerf. It's a weird nerf, because I think they should have lowered the base damage and made something like, I think they should make him not as strong in the mid game and a little bit strong in the late game, like to concentrate on that. But I didn't only nerf that, they also nerfed the Q evolved refund to 50% from 60%. And this is kinda big, because yeah, it's pretty annoying, but in my opinion, you won't notice it. If nobody said that this nerf was going to happen, nobody would notice it, because it's like 0.1 second. And if you play like Brewster Kha'zix as I do, having 40% cooldown reduction, it's like as fast as your ping. You can't even make that. You won't notice this. Like 10% from that is like 1.2 seconds. Not that's nothing if you get cooldown reduction. It's much worse when you are going full AD with like low cooldown reduction, and that's good at nerfing that, because I don't like that. So for me, this won't change my Kha'zix build, because with my Kha'zix build, you maybe probably only gonna get around, okay, this is 50 damage plus Black Cleaver plus that. You probably have around like 170 bonus attack damage, and I'm just saying this scales on bonus AD ratio, not the base, so that doesn't matter. So you will only lose around, like, it's hard to see on this, but you will probably lose around 10 damage. And I'm okay there. I'm okay to lose 10 damage, so I actually can play Kha'zix right now, because he's so picked or banned. I hate it. I hope they can just revert it, because they made Kha'zix, like, his passive is so strong and you don't need isolation. They maybe should do something with your isolation can only go, like, your pass can only go off or deals bonus damage when they're isolated or something, because that's, in my opinion, what Kha'zix should be 100%. An assassin that can always one-shot anyone when they're isolated. Like, not all, but you get what I mean. Like, the strongest assassin in the game, like the strongest champion in the game when they're isolated, and it's really weak when they don't. Because that is, like, because isolation is the most balanced way, the most balanced thing for an assassin. Because it's so easy, you can't control it as Kha'zix. That's why it's like, I get pretty mad when people say Kha'zix is no skill champion, because of course it's easy to play when you're playing against bad people, because if it's no skill champion, you're playing against bad people. But if you play against good people, you won't get isolation on an AD carry. The support will stand beside him, the tank will stand beside him. Then you need to find other ways and move around the teamfight in a more advanced way. So after these nerfs, I think bad Kha'zix players gonna really, like, go back to the old ways. I hope, like, I hope his win rate and pick rate drops, because I don't want to be a meta slave. It's nice that he's good now, but yeah, and this is so necessary, because after they nerfed Lee Sin, there were no counters in the jungle for Kha'zix. Maybe Ivan, like in high elo, I get in the lower elo, it's pretty hard to play, but in high elo he can really stomp you. And Vi, he's not really like counter pick, is annoying. Shaco is a counter pick, but yeah, he's not played that much. And they made lethality bigger. Of course they're gonna make this like Kha'zix nerf, because he was strong before the nerfed Lee Sin. He got stronger then, and they buffed lethality. Kha'zix and Edge of Night, you know, Duskblade Drakvar, they buffed that too. Like, you can't imagine how strong Kha'zix would become if they didn't nerf this. Like, I would probably go with, instead of Maw and Death Dance, just go one armor pen item, because it buffed that, and try some armor pen runes. I mean lethality runes, because I think it's gonna be pretty nice. But if they keep nerfing him, I hope they take down the isolation range, because that's one big problem with Kha'zix. Because I think the isolation range is a little bit big, or something that after they get isolated, you should have 1 second where they are isolated. Because I think it's really bullshit when you see someone isolated and jump in the air and then they lose the isolation, because you can't cancel that. It's so impossible. So I would love if they made it so his isolation would stay on them after they like left the isolation post. And you can see a lot of other champions also getting nerfed. Rengar's getting nerfed. Yeah, and they nerf all the junglers, and right now there are no junglers that counter Kha'zix. Like, if some junglers become meta again, he's gonna lose popularity. I hope so. But guys, thank you for watching this, and yeah, it's a sad day for me, but I'm happy. It's hard to like justify this, because I want him nerfed so people don't play him every game, but I also want him to stay like the same. Because in the beginning, like yesterday, it was only 45%. That was only the nerf. Then they nerfed this, and it looks so scary. This looks so scary. But on a side note, this is fair. It's fair. So my final conclusion is that are the nerfs too much? No, it's not too much. They need to do this. I think it's pretty fair nerfs. As you can see, he will do actually more damage in the early game, which is really ridiculous. Only when they're isolated. Big part, and he will lose some in the late game. Like, if you go the full lethality build, you can probably get up to, let's say, 400 AD, and then you will lose quite a lot of damage. Let's just a straight line here, and here you can see it's around like 50 or 70 damage. Doesn't sound that much, but it's still quite a lot. So Duskblade Drakvar is gonna be probably the best item. I'm gonna try to go full lethality, but you can't, like, I think it's better to not commit for the full lethality yet, because as you can see, it's better to have the low, like, the sweet point is to have around here and go tank if it would work. But my build, tank Kha'zix, is gonna stay the same, because it's actually gonna be like exactly good, like as good as it is, because you but you can't one shot without or deal as much damage when you're not isolated, and that's fair. I agree. So guys, I just made these videos as fast as possible because so many were asking, and I hope they go through with these nerfs because they need to nerf Kha'zix so I can play him. He's banned like half the games I play. But guys, have a good day and keep adapting.